And we are up. What's up, world? We're here.
Yep.
We got the Boston Celtics man over there, Leroy.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
Uh,
go Celtics. Let's go Celtics.
I feel like that's very loud for your wife and your child.
Both of them are asleep. I just checked on them. I went in there. My son has both feet off the bed, sleep like this,
Okay,
like he is milk wasted.
great. Anyway, that's Leroy. I'm Michael. This is We Trying. Y'all know us from News 19 Nerds. We're
Yep.
doing our own thing now. We're out here
Yep.
uh, asking for your money to give us stuff.
I mean, eventually, yeah. But
Yeah,
right now, we just want your views, your likes, and your subscribes. Right
and
here,
your
right here,
subscribes.
and your
Um,
subscribes.
you were waving your Celtics flag. I did have a question. Is this still what game are we going to? Game five? Game four? I mean, game four. What
Game
is
six.
game six?
Yeah.
Because Celtics are up.
Yep.
Okay. All
3-2. We just need to win one more, and guess what? It's at home, baby.
right. Oh,
And
okay.
we're gonna face the Warriors.
Did they win?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas just had one in them, and that was it.
They couldn't hold out.
Okay.
Couldn't do it.
Okay. So, for those who don't know us, we are both in the news business.
Hmm.
It has been a very rough few days so far this week.
Woo!
It has been very trying. Um,
Painful.
and I won't say that this erases everything, but this is a nice little thing to just take your mind off of it for sure.
Yep.
Star Wars Celebration has started. And there's a bunch of news that came out. Leroy can probably tell us everything, but what we're talking about today is the Andor trailer.
Yep. And the Obi-Wan Kenobi drops this weekend, and this is what I'll be wearing when I watch it.
I I didn't agree to seeing your draws on this channel.
They're clean,
First of all,
and
I didn't say that, but the fact
and
that you said it makes me feel like they weren't before.
no, they're clean. But I
Uh
just
huh.
wanted people to know I'm gonna be strapped up. I'm gonna be Star Wars out. I got Star Wars socks. I got Star Wars drawers. I got Star Wars shirt. I got a Poe Dameron hat helmet in that closet. Oh
hmm
yeah, I'm gonna be Star Wars out.
Okay.
You
Uh,
you lucky I don't have this on now.
I can't even imagine the hoops you would have done to showing us that in the camera. I'm just
We ain't got a
since
pic.
since
We
we're
don't
the
have a
nerds, man.
Hey. We don't have a Patreon yet, so that's later.
That's later. Okay.
That's later. We get a
Um.
Patreon. You give us some money.
Oh. Okay. This is wonderful.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get big, Michael.
Fantastic. You got anything else you want to say? You just want to get to this trailer.
Kim Kardashian ain't got nothing on me.
You ready?
Put that, make that a hashtag.
I won't. You ready for this?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Hmm.
Are those drop ships?
They're so proud of themselves, so fat and satisfied. They're everywhere. They're watching me now.
Soon enough, these days will end.
Okay.
We got a scars guard?
There will be no rules going forward.
People are standing up. That's what a reckoning sounds like.
what you want about these Disney Plus shows. They know how to get you with the trailer. I was trying to figure out what this guy was doing, so I'm guessing is he sounding the alarm for these dropships coming in? Maybe.
I don't know. At first, I thought he was doing the bells for
Yeah,
prayer.
like you were ringing in for It's 2 o'clock in the morning or it's whatever time it is.
I was
Or
like, is he doing like the? Is he doing like? Is this like some type of religion ceremony? Like like Muslims have the 5 times a day that they pray, and then like
Mhm.
different like, or is this like the Catholic Church ringing the bells? Like it seemed really religious. And then when they started ringing bells as far as the drop ships coming, that's when I thought it was an alarm. But this seems interesting. This is not the tone of the show that I thought it was going to be,
um,
and that's a good thing.
Shout out to all these people of color I'm seeing in this show. I think Star Wars has done a better job of that over the years of showing more people of color. We're just like, oh, all these beautiful skin tones. I'm loving it. I'm really loving that a lot.
Oh, you
Uh,
mean that not just white people in space?
Apparently, yeah, there are more. There are more than just that.
Carl Sagan's like was the first person to call that out.
Yeah, but I think they're doing a great job. But this looks great, and I like the idea of apparently there's people, different resistances, or maybe different people wanting to rebel against the empire, and maybe they haven't come together yet. I don't know. But yeah, this looks great.
Um, I wonder if that's what it is. I mean, we've seen
Like this
shots.
part right here, these people walk, everybody different on different scene walking towards something. Looks
Mhm.
cool.
It really looks like we saw the Imperial Senate. We see some Tie fighters with Cassian Andor or Andor.
Hmm.
Um, I'm I'm really interested to see like who's who in this and how this ties to Rogue One because we know that's where we first see Cassian Andor. He is the person who's tasked with dealing with Jin and Urso. Uh, he, spoiler alert, I don't want to, but that movie was basically the Dirty Dozen of Star Wars.
Sure.
It's not does not have a happy ending. Uh,
Well, I mean, they get the plans to the rebels.
it does not, sir.
Darth Vader comes in and wrecks shop. That's a happy ending for some people.
That is not a happy ending. I mean, no one made it out alive.
Darth Vader made it out alive.
He was never in question.
Just saying.
um, but this tone, you're right. It does have this tone of building towards something, and we know
Hmm.
that the Rebel Alliance is still a fledgling organization that's pretty much a thorn in the Empire's side,
Hmm.
and Rogue One is pretty much their biggest. I want to say victory to date.
Hmm.
And so here's maybe the beginning of this building up to this. But then another thing that we talked about in Rogue One is Cassian Endor and all the people, they're like, we're assassins, we're saboteurs, we by any means necessary to get the job done. So I
Yeah.
wonder if we're going to see the beginning of this young Rebel Alliance fighter turn into this dark, almost borderline bad person for the greater good.
Yeah,
That
I
would be
can see
very
that.
interesting because basically what we always see is I'm this plucky and I'm the one and I'm gonna everything's gonna be okay and it's like you're here but then you're gonna go down
Hmm.
here for the good of every like you're gonna do some bad things and I wonder if Disney gonna really pull that trigger and let us see that.
Another thing, and seeing all these people of color, another thing that I'm happy that we see is the lack of Jedi. Um,
Yeah.
I think Jedi are awesome, but in the same way that there are other people besides white people in Star Wars, there are also other people besides Jedi in Star Wars, and it's just great to see other people doing stuff besides just somebody with a lightsaber.
So here's my my question about like who are some of these people? So we know we have Cassian Andor, um, played by Diego Luna,
Hmm.
Stellan Skarsgård. If you look on IMDb, we do not know who he is. We see Mon Mothma is in this show, played by Genevieve O'Reilly, and that's pretty much everybody that else that we see.
Hmm.
That like who else is all of these people? We didn't see any Jedi. We didn't see any Inquisitors, and but also we know that there are pretty much only a handful of them left. Like the only ones that we know, we want to say if the rebels are still around, the crew from the rebels animated series. We know Ahsoka is out there. We know Obi-Wan is out there. Um, there's a few more, but other than that, there's not a lot of Jedi running around. So it's
Yeah,
really to the regular folks to carry this torch against the Empire. My question is, what causes this? Because in other words, we think about it. After the Clone Wars, Darth Sidious takes over. He's the
hmm,
Emperor. He has his right hand man. They purge the Jedi Temple. They purge all the Jedi. They essentially have won.
yeah.
So, what happens to build this resistance? The Trade Federation was basically a ruse. We know that some of those components that were the Trade Federation and people who worked with the Republic eventually morphed into what we now know as the Rebel Alliance and then became the Republic later on. But what was that moment that galvanized these people together? And maybe that's what Andor is going to show us.
Could be. I like the idea of them kind of building, helping build out I guess the building blocks of the Rebel Alliance or whatever the organization is before they have a title Rebel Alliance. Maybe it's like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, we got an idea for something because we're tired of whatever the Empire's doing. Let's change it.
Because remember, and see, this is the little things that I like about the Star Wars universe that they are building. If you remember in Solo, Enfys Nest was trying to steal that hall for what eventually became the Rebel Alliance. And
Hmm.
so, what I'm interested to see is the timeline of when Solo's going on, when Andor is, and like when do all of those movies, like if there was a Star Wars timeline you could put up and you could say, this is when this happens, you
Yeah,
know, 3047, after, AY, after Yoda, before Yoda, whatever you want to call your marker for. Because, we have the High Republic, you have the Old Republic, you have the
hmm,
Clone Wars, the before the Dark Times, as Obi-Wan liked to call it. And then you have after, Return of the Jedi. Where does all of this fall into place? And that, to me, that's what the interesting thing of what they're doing right now.
yeah. I'm curious, and I don't want to compare it to Marvel, but it's all Disney. But I think Marvel did a cool thing. And I don't know if they've done it recently, but you remember like they had Nick Fury's big week, like during Phase One or whatever, and they kind of showed you like where every movie laid out timeline wise, and
Mhm.
it was official image sent out by Marvel. I kind of wish Disney would do that with this, and they may have done that. Chat, let us, our people in the audience, once you guys watch this and leave us in comments, let us know if there's a picture somewhere that kind of shows everything lined up because I'd be curious about that too.
I wonder if they have it lined up in just a sense of like, here's like we do know where certain things are. Like we know where the High Republic sits. We know where the original trilogy is. We know where the prequels are, and we know that Clone Wars and Rebels follow simultaneously and right after. So it would be interesting to see where Andor, Solo. We know Rogue One happens literally immediately before A New Hope. So that's what I'm hoping to see. Now, my question is, and this is my problem with this. Rogue One is my favorite movie out of all the new movies. Out of everything Star Wars has done after, I say, Clone Wars, this Rogue One is my favorite. Will Disney allow them to go dark with this show? Because Rogue One, Rogue One is, to me, is one of it, outside of outside of Empire,
Hmm.
and maybe Revenge of the Sith. Rogue One might be the darkest Star Wars to me because of just how
It's
desperate
it's bleak.
everyone seemed. I mean, it's, to me, Rogue One reminds me of a World War II film. It
I
reminds
was
me of,
joking about the it having a happy ending, but yeah, it's definitely a darker movie compared to most of the other Star Wars movies for sure.
so I'm wondering if Disney's going to give the go ahead, because Garth Edwards always said he had them surviving. He wanted to continue the story, and Star Wars was like, you can kill them, right? And he was like, wait, what? And he was like, are you sure about that? And they was like, hey, bro,
I
So
think it's interesting. Go ahead.
no, I'm wondering if is Marvel, not Marvel, is Disney going to give them the green light to show maybe the darker side of what a war and an insurgency is? We know that with Clone Wars they did that. So
I think we are seeing with stuff like Clone Wars that Disney or Star Wars is kind of Star Wars heads are loosening the reins, letting them tell these different stories, these not necessarily happy-go-lucky stories. And I think the fact that this is an Andor show kind of gives credence to the idea that it could be a little darker because Andor was he was definitely not just a pure lawful good character,
no,
right? He definitely had some evil. I mean, uh, on a good day, you might say it's ulterior motive type stuff. On a bad day, you might just say straight out evil tendencies. He was definitely a guy I think was kind of a ends justifies the means type of
oh yeah,
person. So I think because this show was named that, we could definitely see some darker stuff in here for sure.
because I mean, if I know you didn't watch you didn't watch Clone Wars, but
I,
Clone
I
Wars
keep
has
I
some.
keep getting into it and I enjoy it, but something happens and then I trail off on it.
Clone Wars probably has some of the darkest stuff that I've seen in the Star Wars property, and in an animated show that was because again, and if anybody's seen us talk about Clone Wars, it is one of my favorite cartoons. But I'll be honest with you, I asked my wife some of the themes that they introduced in the show. I was like, what is the age range for this? Because they really touch on terrorism, insurgency, autonomy of clones, what
Hmm.
a war is. The final season, they they basically introduced Order 66, and Ahsoka, with the help of one clone, have to fight and kill all of their friends, and that is just such a like when you realize what is happening like because you ever watch and you get caught up in a story and you don't think about it until like the
Sure.
last moment. So
Yeah.
like there's this moment where like the clones, because Ahsoka comes back, because Ahsoka leaves and then she comes back, and they paint their uniforms with Ahsoka's insignia,
Hmm.
and then Order 66 happens, and so they go on this mission. They're trying to save Mandalore, and after they get done, the order gets triggered. Execute Order 66. So all of the clones who literally just painted their helmets, who were ride or die for Ahsoka, are like, we got to kill this bitch.
Hmm.
And it all goes to hell. And Ahsoka is doing her best not to kill these guys. And it is just one after another where they are trying to get out while they're fighting Darth Maul. And it's just so sad because you know what's going to happen. You know they don't make it,
Yeah.
and it's sad. It's dark. It's sad. It really is one of the few times I've ever watched a prequel to something and was like, oh, they executed that correctly. Then don't get me wrong. There were a couple episodes you were like, that was a throwaway, but I was impressed and a little frightened that this was a kid show
Sure.
essentially. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do with Andor. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. Any parting thoughts? Any other comments you want to leave?
Uh, I wonder if we'll see this guy. I just had to throw. I had to show it one more time.
I feel I'm positive you have other Darth Vader memorabilia in that house besides them draws.
I do. It's in the attic. So
Sir,
the
you should have taken some time to go to the attic. That's
so
all I got to say.
here's what's going on. So for those of you who know us, I had a nerd room. The nerd room got turned into a nursery, and I am collecting and putting things away. So
Hmm.
I just showed the room. All those comics are sorted. I've taken several boxes of stuff, sold. A lot of stuff is in the attic. I have maybe one or two Star Wars things out. I have Paz Vizsla
Hmm.
out. I've got a clone trooper out, and an Andor helmet in a closet, and these drawers and some shirts. That's it, man. That's it. Everything else is packed away. I got this room is gonna. There's gonna be a crib behind me over here in front of me. Over
Hmm.
there, the TV's gonna have to get hung. This is gonna be the baby changing table. My wife did let me keep some pops over there and some pops up there.
So what all that means, audience, is we need your help to build this channel so we can make some money. So Leroy got funds to pay for this new baby. That's all. That's all that meant.
I mean,
That's all that was code for all that.
it's either that or I got to sell drugs. And I don't know if you've realized this. I am not a good salesperson.
There we go. On that end, folks, this is the new content you can expect from the We Trying Y'all channel.
We could be honest.
Yeah,
we could be honest. I will
Um,
tell you the truth.
You can find us on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and Facebook now. It's either We Trying or We Trying Y'all. Type them in both. You'll find us there.
I was just about to ask, how in the world do we get a Facebook page? And I just remembered I was the one who made it.
On that note, y'all, we'll see y'all later. We're going to do some more reaction videos and we'll put them up in time.
Deuces.
Peace.